we're exploring two small games that mix with a standard deck of cards. It's some pocket-sized fun in this episode of Little Big Thumbs. Mighty Acorn Games is just about to launch a new series called Deck Hand Games. These are small packets of components that integrate with a standard deck of cards to create some unique and engaging tabletop experiences. Now, you're watching Little Big Thumbs, a channel that's all about finding great games that are equally fun for little players and big players. Today we're looking at the first two games in the Deck Hand series, both designed by Sauer, and they're titled The Dig, Treasure Island, and Boil and Bubble. In this video we're going to take a quick look at how to play each of these games, as well as have a brief conversation about why these might be great choices for space and eco-conscious gamers. So, let's warm up those shuffling hands because this could be the start of something small. Let's kick things off with a talk about The Dig, Treasure Island. In this card drafting, map making adventure for 2 to 4 players, you'll race against rival treasure hunters to uncover ancient riches by assembling your own unique treasure map into a 4x3 grid, with the goal of creating patterns that best match the available treasure cards. To begin, we're going to shuffle that standard deck of cards minus the aces and jokers. Each player will receive 1 card face down and will also create a row of 4 cards in the middle of our playing space. From our deck hand cards, we'll be dealing out the 4 equipment cards nearby the other row of cards, as well as a selection of 7 treasure cards. To play the game, we'll be taking turns drafting those standard cards, gradually building ourselves that 4x3 treasure map. Once per round, a player may decide to draft an equipment card instead of the standard card, the effect of which immediately triggers. Once everyone has their 4x3 grid completed, we'll begin to claim treasure cards, checking for matching patterns as well as the total sum of the cards involved. Whichever player has best fulfilled the treasure card places it into their grid, covering 1 or more of the cards involved, and blocking them from being used for completing other goal cards. After 2 rounds have been completed, we'll compare scores to see who is the most wise treasure seeker in all the land. And in a nutshell, those are the basics of The Dig. Now, let's talk about Boil and Bubble, a spellbinding bidding game about making powerful potions. 2 to 4 witches will be brewing their special concoctions under the light of the blood moon and the eyes of a black cat, with every witch seeking to be the one who cooks up the most points at the end of the game. Across 4 rounds, we'll gather ingredients, bid on spells, and carefully tuck cards into our cauldrons. Each round has 4 key phases, and the first is revealing new spells. We'll start each new round by dealing 3 spell cards to the middle of the table. On these cards, we'll find the bidding requirements known as the major and minor arcana and game end scoring information. Any card with a lightning bolt on the left side of the card is an incantation. These are instant actions that toss some tactical fun into the game. Next, we'll be placing ingredient bids. Each player will secretly play 1 card face down to each spell. Even if you don't intend to win that spell, a card must be played there. In our next step, we will be resolving bids and claiming spells. Players now reveal their cards, and if anyone meets the major arcana requirement of that spell, they win the card. If no one has, we'll check for the minor arcana, and then, if needed, the highest or lowest card played wins the trick. Winning cards are tucked under the spell collected and placed near that player. All other cards are returned to their respective players. And in our final step, we'll be adding to our cauldron. After resolving spells, everyone tucks 1 card from their hand under their cauldron. These cards, along with your spells, will determine your final score. We'll be repeating these 4 steps 4 times, and then at the end of that final round, it's time to score the game. All cauldron cards are revealed, and each player will calculate how well they fulfilled their spell scoring conditions. Each incantation card also has a number of points printed right on the card. As the final step of the game, players will add 1 of their remaining cards to each of the Black Cat and Blood Moon ritual cards for the potential of additional points. Will you become the wisest witch in the land? There's only one way to find out, and that's by playing a game of Boil and Bubble. Before we wrap things up today, I'd like to point out the 3 things that make the Deckhand series really stand out as a unique product. At least with the prototypes we're using to make this video, a Deckhand box can easily fit into a pocket, and even if you don't have a standard deck of cards handy to bring life to the game, it's actually kind of hard to find a house or a business that doesn't have a deck of cards hiding in a drawer somewhere. Given its small footprint and light packaging, this is going to be a relatively inexpensive game to produce and ship. Outside of the print and play genre, this might be the best bang for your buck in gaming right now. And if you are a space or an environmentally conscious gamer, these Deckhand games are quality, replayable experiences with 0 unused space in the box. And given the changing world that we're currently living in, it's great to see a tabletop publisher, let alone a Canadian one, making responsible choices in their production decisions. I'm hopeful that Boil and Bubble and The Dig are just the beginning of an ongoing series of tiny games from Mighty Acorn. And if you'd like to learn more about where to find them, make sure to check the links in the description of this video or go and visit mightyacorngames.com. Thank you to Mighty Acorn Games for sponsoring this video and giving us the chance to try out these cool, new, innovative games. And as always, thank all of you for watching. We'll be back again very soon, and until then, whether you've got little players or big players, make sure that you keep playing games that make your thumbs go way up. Bye for now.